Hi, friends. I'm Dana Lewison, therapist and founder of the Empowerment Collective.
And I'm Dr. Roshni Patel. I'm a board certified gynecologist and a menopause specialist.
Today, we are talking about wellness culture and self care.
Yes, it is no secret that we live in a world where self care has become a public performance and an expensive one at that. And the real kicker is that women are more burned out and exhausted, even when they're doing all of the things in the name of self care.
Yes, absolutely. I would say we're in a challenging place when women are trying to practice self care and are walking away feeling worse than they were
Yeah.
when they started.
Absolutely. So we have a lot to unpack today. And at the end, we're also going to give our take two prescription on how to handle some of the hurdles that we're going to share.
So, ladies, welcome. Let's get into it. Roshni, as a doctor, can you tell us what you think wellness is? What does that word even mean?
To me, from just personal experience and like experience as a doctor, being well or living in wellness means you're free of health problems affecting the quality of your life, right? If you have a medical condition like asthma, it's well controlled on your medication and you're able to enjoy life and all the activities you want to without asthma getting in the way. That is a well life. But like wellness in our culture has started to mean something a little bit different.
Right.
And it's kind of become this like performance art, so to speak. And also, like in the name of self care, women are starting to do, you know, really interesting behaviors that when you take a step back and you really look at things, it's like, is this a form of self care? Are you living in wellness? Is this, improving your quality of life? Do you ever see wellness as a performance in your patients and people?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I think when it comes to my clients, people don't really know what self care even looks like anymore. And perhaps that is because of this performative nature of what wellness has become. To me, I think self care should be about spending time to unwind, whatever that looks like. It could be taking an art class, it could be reading a book, it could be, going, I don't know, to the grocery store if you enjoy that, but it's not like, hey, I have to run errands, so
Right.
I'm going to do it by myself and leave the kids at home. Like that is not self care, but it could also be sitting on the sofa watching TV. I think people are so afraid to look at self care as like I'm being lazy because I
Mhm.
am sitting in front of the television, or I'm being lazy because I have 800 things to do and I'm not doing them and I'm just sitting and spacing out or spending 20 minutes meditating. But that time really needs to be taken. And we can get more into that, later as well. But self care is about caring for the
Mhm.
self as advertised, right? So when we have performative wellness, and maybe we should get into a little bit about like what that is and what that even looks like, and that's taking the place of self care, then we're not actually doing self care.
It's like this checklist, like, I gotta do this, and I gotta take the supplements, and I have to meditate and do this kind of meditation course. When it turns into work, it doesn't feel good, and I think, we see that, this performance. We see, water bottles, great example. Everyone's got a water bottle. I'm drinking from one now. I mean, mine is like, I'm embarrassed to tell you how old it is, and I won't give in and buy the current trendy, starts with an S water bottle. I just won't do it. Because I see them everywhere and it's like a cultural cachet thing, like, "Oh, I'm so into my hydration because I've got this water bottle." Meanwhile, that same person is like, smoke cigarettes or like is doing something that's like in direct
Right. The opposite.
opposition. Right, and it just like, I'm like, "But are you really taking care of yourself by buying this branded water bottle in the sake of hydration?" Like, you can use a glass or you can use any other reasonable receptacle. Um, I mean, I'm sure you've got examples too.
Yeah, no, I think, and I've spoken to you about this before as well. I think that social media creates an image, and certainly for moms and pressure across the board of what
Yep.
motherhood is, but also in the wellness industry for sure, of, what we have to do look a certain way, act a certain way, right? I think of the people who are eating gluten free or a
Mm,
keto diet who don't actually need that for any health reason because an influencer that they follow said this is how you need to eat to look a certain way, to be
right.
thin, or this is what health is. And no, that's actually not necessarily what your body needs. Maybe
Correct.
somebody's body needs that. I'm not saying that doesn't mean wellness for some people, but if you're doing that and then you're, I don't know, not exercising and not taking your care of your body in other ways, and then drinking 3 Diet Cokes a day and
Right.
caffeinating all day, how much of that is, I don't even want to necessarily call it performative from the side, not the influencer, that I think
Mhm.
that is very performative.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But for the people, I know who are watching these things or following them, because I think we're all just trying to do our best. And so if you're on, Instagram and the ad comes up for the gummy that will, hey, this will improve your skin and your energy, and we're just grabbing at
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
sometimes to feel better. So is that performative? Is it trying to do self care? Is
Yeah.
it grabbing onto wellness just to feel better? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like we have gotten so caught up in productivity living, like living to do, go, go, go action. Like, if we just took a minute to stop or reflect or like literally rest, we could feel a little bit better. And then we could hear our bodies to be like, what does my body actually need? Okay, maybe eating carbs at night, my digestion isn't great the next day. Like maybe it's
Right.
something like that, when you're talking about the
Right.
gluten thing, not like, oh, I'm just going to nix gluten completely because that's what somebody said online and they look a certain way. So I want to look a certain way, right?
Right. Right. And that's even goes a step further too, I would say, with like, well, I see all the time like, oh, great content, but by the way, where are your leggings from? And that goes along with the specific water bottle that you
Hmm.
mentioned, which PS, I caved. They're cute. I just bought 3 of them this year. So there's a piece of like, what do you enjoy? What
Right.
makes you happy
Yeah.
also? But like, certain expensive leggings. Yeah, great, fine. But also, do you have to wear certain things to fit into a certain crowd?
Yeah.
And I have clients in different towns where they are feeling that pressure. You have to look a certain way. You
Yeah.
have to dress a certain way. You have to wear the specific yoga pants to go when you take a, specific workout class.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm drenched in sweat when I'm exercising. It
Yeah.
is not cute. It doesn't matter what kind of water bottle I have. I just should hydrate because I look gross. So, what is real wellness versus that performative? And then also, right, as moms, what are we just also grabbing onto because we're just like, anything will help and or anything's
Yeah.
better than what I'm currently doing, but also, is it? Is anything really better? Or am I just adding more supplements to take? And, now I like to take creatine, or do I have to take
Yeah.
collagen,
Oh
or
my goodness.
like how many different supplements?
Yeah.
And then when you look at these influencers that, perhaps you looked up to, or you think, wow, these people are giving great advice, then all of a sudden now they're selling supplements. What does that mean? Does that mean like, oh, they have the best one and I should follow that? Or should that be a flag? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I think it depends. I mean, personally, I do think it's a little bit of a flag to me when there's someone who says like anything about like optimizing. That word has
Mhm.
become like so triggering. Like optimizing what? Like you're an animal. You're a mammal breathing air on this planet. Like how much better do you want your body to get at functioning? Right? Like no one wants to say the ugly things that like our society is set up to make us work all the time and not rest and vacation and PTO is a whole other thing in the American economy. Like no one wants to have those conversations. It's a lot easier to be like, "Well, buy my supplement for $200 a month and you'll feel better." Right? You're
Right.
like adding without looking at what ingredients you already have to work with. And social media, it's a blessing and a curse, right? It can help you connect to someone that can help you, but then it can also take advantage of that vulnerability that we all kind of have when we're looking for support. But yeah, for me, like anytime they're selling me something or promoting something, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm suspect.
I would say my flags always go up
Yeah.
also, but at the same time, I am the first on Instagram or whichever social media platform I happen to be on where I'm scrolling and I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
what is this new vitamin? And I get sucked in. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't say I buy the supplements, but like, maybe it's a sweatshirt, like
Right.
they have those weighted sweatshirts. I'm always like, huh, I wonder how that would work. But I do. I click on things and your brain is in such a passive mode. I met with
Yeah.
a neurologist yesterday who was giving like a free talk at my son's elementary school about kids and screens, but she
Yeah.
was saying that when we are just constantly scrolling, our brain is in such a passive mode, we're not really thinking. And so as we're scrolling, and we're like, ooh, supplement, ooh, vitamin, ooh, no sweatshirt, ooh, weighted stuffed animal. We're like, click, click, click,
But
click. And you're not sitting there with intention being like, oh, do I actually really need this? Or is this actually going to help me? And what is self care? Or those brownies look healthy and great. And yes, I should cut out all, I don't know, green foods from my diet this
right,
week.
like, it's, like, so arbitrary sometimes, and that barrier from, like, where you are to obtaining these whatever, wellness things that are being sold, that it's a tap. It's just one
Yes.
tap, add to cart. It's one tap, ship it to
So
my house.
easy.
And I honestly think, like, there were times and, we're old enough to both remember that barrier was harder.
Yes.
We remember life before social media, and, like, what made you feel good was, like, go outside, play, run around, take a nap, you know? When
Right.
did we become a place where, like, you have to earn rest? Like, humans need rest. All animals need rest. It's a biological,
Right.
physiological need, but we're now in this place where rest has become a reward. Like you have to earn your rest. And I think this hits women, maybe a little harder because of the mom guilt and the societal guilt and the messaging that like being busy makes you worthy and being busy gives you value. I know I've gotten that messaging in training in my career for sure. Um, and I'm sure in the clients that you take care of, they may report something very similar.
Yeah. It made me think of our last week's recording of mom guilt and shame and how we have to do all the things. So if we have
Yeah.
to do all the things, can I really go and read a book in a cafe for an hour? I have to do laundry. How do I
Yeah.
prioritize? I think that's one of the biggest complaints I get, especially from new moms, is
Yeah.
how do I have time? How do you do it all? How do you, do the dishes and do the laundry and find time for self care? And I'm very honest, I say I don't.
Yeah.
Like
You don't.
you don't. There are,
You don't.
dirty laundry or dirty dishes, and that's okay. Fine. I have to, put stuff in the dryer multiple times. It just sits in there and it's fine. If you run
That's
it
okay.
again, as we all know, the wrinkles come out when you
Yeah.
run it again.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And dirty dishes aren't going to hurt anybody. That's okay. I prioritize getting that self care for myself. Also, you have partners. Maybe they can help. If you have a
Yeah.
partner, they can help you. Children, they can help you. So again, delegating things, not taking it all on yourself. You don't have to earn that time off, which PS you have earned it because you're busy and you're doing everything. And I know you are, listeners,
Mhm.
but you don't actually have to earn it. You can rest. You can take
Yeah.
that time. But so that's another question then. What is actual self care? What does
Yeah.
that look like? What do
Great
you do? What do
question.
you do for self care?
Honestly, like, when I feel myself, like, starting to get the simmer becomes a boil, and I catch myself, like, I got so much to do. I'm so busy. Like, when I say that I used to say that without realizing it, but now I'm like, "Oh, I need to stop."
Right,
I need
right.
to say, like, "Oh," instead of, like for me, it's, like, a lot of mindset shifting, and that's helped me through the years. And it's something I will even relate to patients, a lot of them new moms or moms that are juggling it all. And I'll say something like, okay, replace I am busy with I'm in demand. So, and then
Mhm.
I start thinking of it like, I'm a conductor of an orchestra or I'm the, manager of this team. And like, how do I want to, delegate? And even before that, like, if I'm feeling kind of like I'm hitting my max, I will like lie down or sit down quietly, like disconnect all my media, headphones, no music, and just like set a timer for 3 minutes. 3 minutes don't even complete, but I even like by minute one, I feel like just that down regulating of your nervous system is so powerful because your just brain is just going, 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 and that's your brain's job. But there's different parts of your brain and you're getting so much input and overwhelm, and you feel that like sympathetic nervous system just kind of ramping up.
Right.
You're getting into anxious mode, and you just got to breathe it out, calm down. And then, even after a few minutes of like sitting in a quiet I've pulled over on the street and just like put my hazards on and be like, I need to breathe because I
Right.
am not thinking right now and I am just allowing myself to be overwhelmed. So, like, even that self care for me in those moments is stopping, breathing, and redelegating or being like, okay, it's 3:30. I know I have to get the kids and I have to make dinner. Like, that's what I actually have to do. What are the things that I can just punt to tomorrow or next week or something like
Mhm.
that? Um, so, like, that reframing is for me is self care, and the other thing I started doing, and I tell this to patients, and someone actually, 2 therapists have told this to me, and I mentioned it to you, is scheduling blank space in your calendar. I could not function without Google Calendar. I have been using it for as long as I've had Gmail, and I'll have moments where, like, I just will schedule, like, do nothing. Like, you need to see white space on your calendar. You cannot be
Yes.
back to back to back. Like, no,
Yes.
you're not a
Absolutely.
machine.
No.
You're not a machine. There's traffic and accidents on the road, and patients go over time, and kids have accidents at school, or you gotta run and pick them up, or dinner boils over. Like, stuff happens in life that those white spaces give you buffer,
Mhm.
and that's
Yeah.
so important to me.
Well, and even if everything's running perfectly, you
Mhm.
still need that time then for yourself. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't even want it to be for everybody else's time goes
Right.
over and all the other stuff, but for yourself to have, that time out, mommy's time out.
Mommy's time out.
And I tell clients too, if you're at work and you need a time out, just go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
right? No one's going to be like, oh, sorry, get out of there. You just go in
Yeah.
there, go in a stall, close the door, and just sit and breathe because we all do at any point, whether it's at work or at home. You need to be able to take that breather and take that time out. If you're home, obviously it's going to be easier, right? You can take a seat on the sofa, assuming you don't have children around asking you 8,000 things. But if they are, yes, there'll be little fingers under,
Door.
the door to the
Yep.
bathroom because even then you can't always go to the
I
bathroom
lock the door
alone.
now. I lock the
But
door.
I remember those days. But
Yep.
fortunately, my kids don't want to bother me in the bathroom anymore. But I used to joke that I would like, go sit in a parking lot of Target with a coffee. And you're certainly not the only mom there. And I tell my clients, just go sit because you will see lots of moms just spaced out in large
Yeah.
parking lots because sometimes you need to get away, like just get
Yep.
out of the home, but you don't necessarily have anywhere to go and you don't want to go home. And so let's sit in a parking lot or in a grocery store if that's what you need to do. Put on some music. But I think when we are tapped out and there's sensory overload, it is so important to take that time. One of my favorite things for me to do is I'll actually put these headphones on because they are noise canceling
Mhm.
and I'll listen to an audiobook. Sometimes there is no audiobook, it's just quiet and there's no noise, but my children think it's an audiobook and
Right.
they actually believe that I can't hear anything when these are on. So
Great.
please nobody tell them, even though I can. But yeah, I'll put them on if I'm making dinner, just like turn down
Turn the
that
noise
noise.
down. Yeah.
But it also is signaling to everyone else in my home, do not talk to mommy. She's having her quiet time.
Yeah.
And so, they know now, like, don't tap my shoulder if you need me, because I can't hear you with these, but you can't feel guilty about the self care. And if you can't do it in your house because, your partner is going to come to you with the crying baby when you're in the basement trying to exercise, or come to you with a question about, oh, no, what am I feeding them? And that's going to frustrate you. Sign up for a class outside of the house or
Yeah.
go run outside. I don't care if it's cold. You can put on some warm clothes.
Yeah.
Get out of the house if you need to. Find friends, sign up for a class, do something.
I was gonna say, actually related to the comment you made about waiting in the parking lot, going to a library. Public
Mhm.
libraries are open
Yes.
there's usually a quiet place and no one will judge you for just sitting down and like you don't even have to be reading a book. You could pretend to read or just sit there quietly and no one will bother you. Like sometimes you
Magical.
just need that moment and I don't think we can get to like I don't know, true self-care and living in wellness until like we quiet all those like voices, demands and noise. Like we have to find ways even computers. Like computers need to
Yes.
load. You know, pages I mean, I remember AOL where you had the, like, dial-up thing, like, like, we've come a long way, technology is crazy fast, but web pages still need to load, like, they need a minute, they need 30 seconds, whatever it is. Don't we also, as human beings, warrant rest? I don't
Yes.
know where this, like, no rest culture came from.
Well,
I
it's
also
the
think it's, like, an American thing.
I would yes. Well, that is 1,000% yes, and even perhaps, the, I don't know, tri-state area as well.
Yeah,
But I also want to point out that scrolling on your phone does not necessarily mean self-care. That
yeah.
yes, it is downtime, but also recognize your brain is
It's
going
still
and it's
getting
like
input, like,
dopamine,
light
dopamine, dopamine.
yeah,
Yeah, you're still it's activated. So
yeah,
there's passive, but it's still activated. And then
yeah,
once you turn it off, your brain is like searching everywhere still for that. And that's going to continue that activation. So
yeah.
certainly before bed, that's like the worst thing you could do.
Mhm. I totally agree. I totally agree. I think a lot of us do it because 'cause we've just become used to it, and it's culturally acceptable to do that, but I just wanna, like, say, what if you just didn't do what everyone else did and you got a chance to listen to your own voice? Like, right, that beating to the sound of your own drum, like, really might make you as an individual,
Right.
feel a whole lot better than any supplement or wellness trend or, self-care recommendation ever could.
Right. Right. And this goes back to that socialization piece that we've spoken about before.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to do it alone, get a friend. Call a
Yeah.
friend. Hey, really trying to find some self-care, new activities. I want to get off my phone. Do you want to go take a walk? Do you want to go try a new art class together? Do you want to
Yeah.
learn to throw pottery? Really anything you can that does count as self-care. Going out with friends, going out with girlfriends for dinner counts as self-care. Yes, sometimes you do need that alone time to
Yep.
really reset, especially if your friends are activating for you or triggering. But that there's a balance in all of that.
Totally. And I think social health or like having the right group of friends for the right kind of thing that you need in your life is impactful for your true wellness, like your
Yes.
true health long term. Relationships are important. Social support is important. And there's that distance in the wellness industry, right? Like they're not your friend. They're not your therapist. You deserve someone that has like a vested interest in your success. Not to shame the work that they're doing online, but it's not tailored to you. And that goes back to like what works for you, and if going out with girlfriends, I don't know, once a month is like fills your cup, great. If that's too much for you, then go out by yourself to a library where it's
Right. Right.
quiet
Something that's
and no one will
quiet.
bother you.
Right. Exactly.
So if you
Exactly.
could like make your ultimate, actually a better question is if you weren't doing it all, like doing all the work of being the primary parent and managing a business and all the things, you know, what would fall apart? And like, why did it become your job to take care of everyone else before taking care of yourself?
Oh my goodness, that's such a
That's
question.
a loaded one, right?
That's a big one. No, I think that is something I think that I'm going to turn that back and just
Yeah.
say that that is a great question that everyone should ask. And if you did step back, right, what would fall apart? And then therefore, who would have to pick up the pieces? And can they pick up the pieces? Because the answer is
Right.
usually yes,
Yeah.
right? Like, yes, your husband can help make dinner, or your child can help pack a lunch,
Sure.
or someone can help switch the laundry. That there are things that people can step in and do as well. And if they can't, are there things you can teach people to do as well?
Sure.
So you're not doing it all, so that you can get time off. You can sit on the sofa while other people are making dinner.
Right.
So yeah. And I do want to add though about social media. I think we're we're both like taking a moment to bash it, but the positive piece of it, because I don't think it's all bad, and the
Right.
positive piece of it is that it does allow us to spread these messages. It does allow, menopause is having a moment right now
Mhm.
because there are the influencers that do have a following that can bring attention to important causes. And that's across the board with,
Yep.
anything, but especially women's health, because you don't have the paradigm doesn't involve, as we discussed, women in healthcare. And so it does require these grassroots initiatives, and they are using the platforms of social media to bring awareness. So that is positive. And certainly, if you are gluten free or you do have to follow a keto diet, to be able to have those communities and have those
Right.
influencers who do that and be able to get those recipes or find ways to get supplements or get advice is your life to meet those needs.
Yeah.
Those are wonderful outlets.
Sure.
So I just think the problem becomes when we are just so caught up in all of it and
Yeah.
subscribing to things that don't meet us where we are and then getting pulled into it. I laugh to myself, but I also get frustrated when clients will say to me, well, I did see this on TikTok. So I think this might actually be my diagnosis. It's like,
Mm.
no, you don't have schizophrenia. And
Yeah.
here's why. It's usually something that's like so extreme that you're like,
Extreme.
how did you
Yeah.
get there when that is not something that's ever even come up, or we have to have a really
Yep.
big conversation because I'm clearly missing either a lot of information from you or you just went down like
Like
the
the rabbit
TikTok
hole.
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think that can be also really dangerous when you're getting certain healthcare advice from people that either A aren't doctors or B, again, you're not reporting your information to them. They don't know you.
Yeah. They don't know
You're an
you.
individual.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, social media, it is. It's a blessing and a curse, double-edged sword, things go both ways. But you're completely right. Like, sometimes I feel as though things that we see online are a little bit sensationalized or, a little bit on the more extreme edge. And they have to be, right? To be appealing, to draw the viewer in, to get more clicks, um, to promote the sale if they're selling some kind of thing. Or behavior or activity or lifestyle or whatever they're trying to sell you, but TikTok is not your therapist. Advice without context, recommendations without nuance are dangerous. And like we as humans, and we as women, especially, really deserve individualized,
yeah.
true support and care and treatment, if we're struggling with a mental health issue or we're like at our wits' end with like managing all the things. We don't actually need to manage all the things.
No,
It's huge.
we
When you
don't.
realize that, it's huge.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. And so what do you think your suggestion would be then for women who are listening right now and going, but
Yeah.
I have to manage all the things. I hear you about the laundry, but no, I actually can't pass that off because then all my whites turn pink.
Yeah.
What would you suggest?
So the first thing is we have to cut ourselves a break and give a little bit of compassion to ourselves and the people in
Hmm.
our lives. Because some stuff, like when you're delegating or teaching your kids how to do their own laundry or make their beds or getting your partner involved in meal prepping or whatever it is, there's going to be some mistakes and resistance. And kids might be like, I don't want to make my bed. Well, then you know what? Don't make your bed for a couple days. And are you okay with that? Like, do you want to sleep like that? Okay, fine. We have to pick our battles, account for some losses in battle,
Right. Because
right?
also, like,
Yeah.
my kids actually don't really make their bed. And that
Yeah.
isn't something I actually care so much about.
Yeah. We have to pick what's actually important to us, and doing it all is not sustainable. Like every mom I think that I've talked to hits that point where they're like, I'm doing all the things and I'm exhausted. Yeah, because you're doing the work of like three people. So find out what really matters, focus on that, and taking a break doesn't need to be this like completely luxurious, glamorous thing. It can literally be like, I'm going to lock myself in the bathroom for 5 minutes so I can just like deregulate my nervous system or downregulate my nervous system. That's what I would say for sure. And white space in your calendar, especially for, type A, go-getters, extrovert people. I think we know a few. Blank space. You got to have that blank space.
Finding out what self-care looks like for you.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. And just because somebody else, for them, it's an art class and you hate art, fine, find something else that works for you. And don't shame yourself for
Hmm.
what that is. If that's sitting in front of watching, TV and
Yeah.
Housewives for 10 minutes or the whole hour, whatever you need to do,
Yeah.
no judgment, to reset, then that's what you need to do. But also really make sure that the purpose of it is, if it is self-care, that you are feeling more relaxed after. If you're feeling more activated or as activated, then
Yeah.
is that really self-care? It might just be a good time. You might have
That's
enjoyed
great.
the episode of Housewives, but are you feeling relaxed? I don't know. Maybe you are. So what else can you do that helps you feel good? And it doesn't have to be long. It can be the 3-minute break. It can
Yeah.
be going for a walk around the block. I think that's really good. You're flushing out extra cortisol. It's in your system from anxiety. It doesn't have to be long, but something that feels productive. Sounds the opposite of what we're saying, but
Yeah.
like a productive self-care
Yeah, that, like,
event.
produces like, yeah, I guess that's the message, right? Like, self-care isn't what looks good, it's what helps
Yes.
you.
Feel good.
Yeah, feel good, feel better, feel relaxed, calms you down, that would definitely be my take too, like, self-care is what feels good.
Yes. Right. If
Rest,
you're going
yeah,
to the Pilates class because you have to wear a certain outfit and drink from a certain water bottle and have your full face of makeup on, is that self-care?
yeah. And it might be, and, like, you just have to be really honest with yourself. I think that would be my take home message, like, be really honest about, like, what's important to you, not what
Right.
looks good to everybody else, and, like, how do you feel after? And the other
Yeah.
thing would be, I challenge you all to have empty space on your calendar on purpose where you literally don't have to do anything.
I
That would
love
be
that.
my take home, my take two prescription. What would you say? Like if you could give like 2 points or 2 challenges or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's the don't feel shame or guilt for taking that time, and making sure that that time is for you.
Yes.
Not, I remember a client I worked with would exercise in the basement, and we always talked about how she never felt rested. And it finally came out that she'd be in the basement, and they had a new baby, and the husband would bring the baby down every time the baby cried, and then she would have to nurse the baby or change the baby, and like that. That's not self care.
Yeah,
You don't have, you need that like uninterrupted time. It's just for you. And
totally.
so finding that and finding what works for you and Google it. You can go on ChatGPT and look up ideas. Like it shouldn't be difficult for you to find different ideas that you can try out and try different things until you find what works for you.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really important. I guess those are my two things, right? So
Yeah.
not feeling shame and guilt for doing it and then finding also what works for you.
I think that's great. I think we hit on a lot of things. I hope this helps listeners out there kind of
Yeah.
reframe and reflect on like how are you taking care of yourself, ladies? How are you feeling good?
Yeah, I love it. So, well, and as everyone knows that you can't always hang around here. And hopefully you had your self-care earlier today. I know you and I are both about to head back to being moms and working
Yep.
because when you're a busy working mom, there are
No sick days.
sick days.
There could be rest, but no sick days.
There could, right. We're going to add to that. There
Right.
needs to be some self-care. But there's still no sick days.
Yeah.
So bye, everyone. Have a great week.
Bye bye. Take care, folks.
No Sick Days is for information and education only. It is not medical or mental health treatment. Listening to this podcast does not create a medical or therapeutic relationship. Please talk to a qualified professional for care that is right for you.